It's been over 2 decades since the tragic loss of Princess Diana, but her memory remains etched in the hearts of millions for her sons Prince William and Prince Harry. The pain of losing their mother at such a young age has shaped their lives in profound ways, while Prince Harry has often been more vocal about his struggles. Prince William has largely kept his grief private until now. Prince William has opened up about the impact of Diana's death, the overwhelming grief he experienced as a 15-year-old boy, and how he carries her legacy forward today. His words offer a rare glimpse into the personal struggles of a man born into a life of duty and the extraordinary strength it took to move forward after such a devastating loss. William and Harry's personal grief. What happens when two young boys lose the most important person in their lives while the world watches? On August 31, 1997, the lives of Prince William and Prince Harry changed forever at just 15 and 12 years old respectively. They lost their mother, Princess Diana, in a tragic car crash. For any child, the loss of a parent is unimaginable, but for these young boys it was compounded by public scrutiny and a lack of emotional support within the royal family. William, the elder of the two, shouldered the grief like a young adult, but the pain of his loss left deep scars. One of the most heartbreaking details he has shared is his regret over the last conversation he had with Diana that evening. Diana had called to check in on her sons, but William and Harry, eager to continue playing, rushed through the phone call. Later, William would express immense guilt over cutting the conversation short, haunted by the what ifs that come with sudden loss. Have you ever wished for just one more minute with someone you've lost? For Harry, the pain manifested differently. He admitted to shutting down his emotions completely after Diana's death, a coping mechanism that would later come back to haunt him. In interviews, he revealed that he cried only once at his mother's funeral. For years he buried his grief, trying to uphold the stoic demeanor expected of a royal. However, this suppression of emotions led to severe mental health struggles. It wasn't until Harry sought therapy in his late 20s that he began to confront the pain he had hidden for so long. He described the process as transformative, helping him understand his emotions and heal from the trauma. The royal family's traditional stance of emotional restraint made things worse. For the brothers, open discussions about grief were neither encouraged nor allowed, leaving William and Harry to navigate their emotions largely alone. Their father, Prince Charles, focused on maintaining royal duties rather than addressing his children's emotional needs. This lack of support further strained the already fragile bond between the family members. For William, this experience shaped his approach to parenting. He has vowed to break the cycle and create an emotionally supportive environment for his own children. Circumstances of Princess Diana's death. A city of lights turned into a city of shadows on one tragic night in Paris. The night of August 30, 1997, began like any other for Princess Diana and her companion, Dodi Fayed. The couple, who had been enjoying a holiday together, arrived in Paris earlier that day and stayed at the luxurious Ritz hotel owned by Dodi's family. But by the early hours of August 31st, a tragedy unfolded that would shock the world. To avoid the swarm of paparazzi outside the hotel, Diana and Dodi left through the rear entrance and got into a black Mercedes-Benz driven by Henri Paul, the deputy head of security at the Ritz. Alongside them was Trevor Rees-Jones, Dodi's bodyguard. Unfortunately, neither Diana nor Dodi wore seatbelts, a critical detail that would later haunt the narrative. As the car sped away, a group of paparazzi on motorcycles gave chase, desperate to capture photos of the couple. In an attempt to evade them, Henri Paul drove at a dangerously high speed through the Pont de El Alma tunnel. At around 12:23 a.m., the car lost control, struck a pillar, and crashed. The impact was devastating. Dodie and Henri Paul were killed instantly, while Diana, critically injured, was rushed to a hospital. Tragically, she succumbed to her injuries just a few hours later. Trevor Rees-Jones, the only survivor, suffered severe injuries and has little memory of the incident. How could one of the most beloved figures in the world meet such a tragic end? The role of the paparazzi in the crash remains a contentious issue. Witnesses reported seeing photographers crowding around the wreckage, snapping photos instead of helping. This callous behavior fueled public outrage and intensified scrutiny on the relentless media pursuit that Diana endured throughout her life. While some argue that the paparazzi directly caused the crash, the official investigation concluded that Henri Paul's reckless driving and intoxication were the primary factors. But was Henri Paul really to blame, or was the truth more complicated? Controversy surrounds Henri Paul's blood alcohol levels on the night of the crash. Toxicology reports indicated that he was heavily intoxicated, with alcohol levels 3 times the legal limit. This finding led investigators to conclude that his impaired judgment was a major factor in the crash. However, this narrative has been questioned over the years. CCTV footage from the Ritz Hotel that evening showed Paul walking and interacting normally, with no apparent signs of intoxication. His family, along with some experts, disputed the toxicology results, raising concerns about potential errors or tampering. The presence of unusually high levels of carbon monoxide in Paul's blood added another layer of mystery. Some theorized that the samples might have been contaminated, while others suggested deliberate manipulation to deflect blame from other parties. Could a man so composed on camera truly have been so reckless behind the wheel? Eyewitness accounts further complicate the story. Several witnesses reported seeing a white Fiat Uno in the tunnel at the time of the crash, and traces of white paint were later found on the wrecked car. Mercedes, this led to speculation that the Fiat may have collided with Diana's car, contributing to the crash. Despite extensive investigations, neither the driver nor the vehicle was ever conclusively identified, leaving this detail shrouded in mystery. The emergency response to the crash also raised questions. Reports indicate that it took more than 40 minutes for Diana to be extracted from the wreckage and transported to a hospital. By the time firefighters arrived, Dodie and Henri Paul were already pronounced dead, and Diana was in critical condition. Her last words, according to a firefighter at the scene, were, "My God, what's happened?" Despite efforts to save her, including emergency surgery, Diana succumbed to her injuries at 4 a.m. Her death left the world in mourning and sparked a wave of conspiracy theories that persist to this day. Even decades later, the questions remain: was it truly an accident, or was there more to the story? From the devastating impact of Diana's death on her young sons to the controversies surrounding that fateful night in Paris, her story continues to resonate deeply. William and Harry's candid reflections on their grief have opened the door for important conversations about mental health and the lasting effects of loss. Meanwhile, the unresolved questions about the crash serve as a stark reminder of the complexities and pressures that come with public life. Diana's legacy as the People's Princess lives on not only through her humanitarian work but also through her sons, who have chosen to honor her memory by championing causes close to her heart. While the pain of her loss will never truly fade, her enduring influence ensures that she will never be forgotten. Princess Diana may be gone, but her legacy of compassion and resilience remains as powerful as ever. Conspiracy theories and controversies. What if one of the world's most iconic figures didn't die by chance but by a series of meticulously planned events? This is the question that keeps Princess Diana's tragic story shrouded in mystery. One of the most debated aspects of the crash involves a white Fiat Uno. Witnesses reported seeing this car near the scene where Diana's vehicle collided in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel in Paris. It was believed to have made contact with Diana's Mercedes, contributing to the fatal crash. Despite extensive investigations, the car and its driver were never conclusively identified. The lack of concrete answers has fueled public speculation that this was no random accident. Adding to the intrigue is a letter Diana wrote to her former butler, Paul Burrell, months before her death. In this handwritten note, she expressed fears of a plot to tamper with her car's brakes to orchestrate an accident potentially leading to her death. This eerie prediction, often referred to as her death note, has led many to believe that Diana suspected foul play. Can you imagine living under the constant fear that your own life might be at risk and being proven tragically right? The French investigation into the crash also raised eyebrows were raised as questions lingered about why certain evidence, such as security camera footage from the tunnel, was either unavailable or deemed unusable. Additionally, the slow emergency response has been scrutinized, with some suggesting that Diana might have survived had she received medical attention more quickly. The official explanation cited the chaotic circumstances of the crash, but skeptics argue it points to something more sinister. Finally, rumors of Diana's pregnancy and potential engagement to Dodi added another layer of complexity. While her close friends and family disputed the claims, Mohammed Al-Fayed, Dodi's father, was outspoken in asserting that the couple was planning to announce their engagement. He further alleged that Diana's pregnancy might have posed a threat to certain powerful institutions, which added weight to his belief in a conspiracy. Could these theories hold a kernel of truth, or are they just the product of a world unwilling to let go of its beloved people's princess? The impact of Diana's death on the royal family raises the question, what happens when personal tragedy collides with centuries-old traditions? For the royal family, Diana's death was not just a loss but a moment of reckoning. When Diana's life was cut short, the world mourned collectively. However, one of the most poignant images from that time was the sight of Princes William and Harry walking behind their mother's coffin. The decision to have them participate in this public spectacle sparked intense debate. At just 15 and 12 years old, the boys were thrust into the spotlight during their darkest hour. While some praised the gesture as a tribute to Diana's significance, others criticized it as an emotionally taxing display. Even Prince Harry later revealed that no child should be asked to do something like that, calling it a deeply painful experience. Was this a moment of unity for the monarchy, or did it expose its lack of sensitivity? Diana's passing also strained relationships within the family, particularly between Prince Charles and his sons. Many viewed Charles as emotionally distant, with his focus seemingly more on maintaining royal duties than addressing the emotional needs of his grieving children. For William and Harry, this lack of support only deepened the wound left by their mother's absence. William, who often felt protective of Harry, shouldered much of the emotional burden, while Harry admitted to bottling up his grief for years. Diana's tumultuous marriage to Charles had already cast a long shadow over their family life. The unraveling of their relationship, marked by allegations of infidelity on both sides, took a toll on William and Harry. Diana's candid interviews about her struggles, describing her marriage as crowded due to Charles's relationship with Camilla Parker B.S., left a lasting impression on her sons. They were forced to navigate the complexity of their parents' public and private personas, which were often at odds. How does a family heal when its most intimate struggles are laid bare for the world to see? For William and Harry, this question remains central to their journey. Despite the strained dynamics, Charles's commitment to royal duty remained unwavering. Some viewed his approach as cold, prioritizing protocol over the emotional needs of his sons. However, others argued that he was doing what he believed was best, maintaining stability within the monarchy during a time of crisis. Re-hook, could it be that Charles's stoicism was misunderstood, or was it emblematic of the royal family's inability to adapt to a changing world? William and Harry's advocacy for mental health in recent years has been remarkable. Princes William and Harry have emerged as powerful voices in the conversation about mental health. Their candid reflections about their struggles have not only helped to shine a light on an often taboo subject but have also marked a significant shift from the traditional stance of the British royal family. Both brothers, deeply affected by the tragic loss of their mother, Princess Diana, have chosen to break away from the culture of emotional restraint they grew up with. Instead, they openly advocate for mental health awareness and encourage others to seek help without shame. This decision has not only resonated with millions worldwide but has also set an inspiring example of vulnerability and strength. Imagine growing up in one of the most powerful families in the world but feeling completely alone in your pain. For Princes William and Harry, this was their reality after the death of their mother, Princess Diana. For William, the journey toward mental health advocacy began with acknowledging his own struggles. The loss of Diana, who died in a car accident when he was just 15, left a deep emotional scar. For years, William suppressed his feelings, adhering to the royal family's long-standing tradition of maintaining a stiff upper lip. But as he matured, he realized that bottling up emotions was not sustainable. In interviews, he has shared how the weight of grief affected his mental health, particularly as he took on increasing responsibilities within the monarchy. William's turning point came when he decided to seek therapy. He has openly credited this decision as a crucial step in understanding and managing his emotions. This was no small move for someone in his position. By seeking help, William not only defied royal norms but also demonstrated that even the most high-profile individuals are not immune to mental health challenges. Through therapy, he began to process the trauma of losing his mother and learned healthier ways to cope with the pressures of public life. What if the very traditions meant to protect you were the same ones keeping you from healing? For William, embracing vulnerability was the only way forward. Harry's path to mental health advocacy was similar yet unique. Being only 12 years old when Diana passed away, Harry's grief was compounded by his inability to express his emotions openly. In his own words, he described feeling completely numb for years. Unlike William, who sought therapy earlier, Harry spent nearly 2 decades burying his emotions. It wasn't until his late 20s that he began to confront the depth of his pain. The trigger? A series of emotional breakdowns that made it impossible to ignore his mental health any longer. Harry has often spoken about the transformative power of therapy in interviews and public appearances. He has detailed how counseling helped him face the unresolved grief and anger he had carried since childhood. One of the most striking admissions from Harry is that he cried only once after his mother's death, at her burial. For years, he tried to block out the pain, a decision he now regrets deeply. Therapy gave him the tools to reconnect with his emotions and understand that asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. For years, Harry carried the weight of unspoken grief. What finally broke him, and how did therapy help him rebuild? Both brothers have been vocal about how the royal family's traditional approach to emotions shaped their early years. The British monarchy has long been associated with stoicism and emotional restraint, a philosophy deeply rooted in their public role. From a young age, William and Harry were expected to project composure even in the face of personal tragedy. The public image of strength often came at the expense of their emotional well-being. Underscores his commitment to providing immediate support for those in need. Harry, on the other hand, leans heavily on his personal journey to connect with others. His willingness to share deeply personal experiences, such as his struggles with anxiety and panic attacks, has made him a relatable figure for many. What can we learn from two princes who dared to challenge centuries-old traditions to speak their truth? The contrast between their advocacy and the royal family's traditional stance is striking. For generations, the monarchy has prioritized duty and appearances over personal well-being. William and Harry's decision to prioritize mental health represents a generational shift that challenges these norms. By openly discussing their struggles, they have not only redefined their roles within the royal family but have also set an example for others to follow. As they continue their work, William and Harry's advocacy serves as a reminder that mental health is a universal issue. Their willingness to confront their own pain and share their journeys has created a ripple effect, inspiring others to do the same. In doing so, they have honored their mother's legacy, ensuring that her compassion and empathy live on through their work. If Princes William and Harry can break centuries-old traditions to prioritize mental health, what's stopping you from taking the first step toward healing? Legacy of Princess Diana. When people think of Princess Diana, many remember her as the people's princess. She wasn't just a royal figure, she was a mother who deeply valued her children's happiness, emotional growth, and freedom. Her approach to parenting was unlike the traditional methods often seen in the royal family. Diana's legacy, particularly in how she raised Prince William and Prince Harry, continues to inspire how William is raising his own children today. Imagine growing up in one of the world's most famous families and still feeling like your mother saw you as just her child, not a prince, not a future king, but simply her son. That was the magic of Diana. Diana broke many royal rules, and her parenting style was one of her most remarkable rebellions. While the royal family often maintained a formal and distant relationship with their children, Diana was determined to raise William and Harry differently. She wanted them to experience life as normal children, even if their royal status made that difficult. For Diana, this meant taking William and Harry to amusement parks, letting them eat fast food at McDonald's, and even sneaking them into regular public places like the cinema. She believed it was essential for them to understand the lives of ordinary people. Diana once said, "I want my boys to have an understanding of people's emotions, their insecurities, people's distress, and their hopes and dreams." One of her most iconic parenting moments was taking William and Harry to visit homeless shelters and hospitals. Diana wanted them to see the world beyond the palace gates. She famously took young William to a shelter for people with HIV/AIDS, a groundbreaking act at the time when stigma surrounded the disease. This wasn't just a photo op, it was Diana teaching her children compassion and empathy. Firsthand, can you imagine being a future king and serving hamburgers at a homeless shelter with your mom? That's the kind of life lessons Diana gave her boys. Diana also ensured that William and Harry felt emotionally safe with her. In a family known for its stiff upper lip approach, Diana encouraged her sons to share their feelings and talk openly. She was their confidant, a safe haven in a world that often demanded perfection. Her warmth and understanding gave them a sense of stability even during the turbulent times of her marriage to Prince Charles. Now a father of three, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, Prince William has carried forward many of his mother's parenting values. Like Diana, William is committed to giving his children as normal a childhood as possible despite the pressures of raising a future King George and living under constant public scrutiny. William and his wife Catherine, Princess of Wales, are focused on creating a loving and grounded home. William often speaks about the importance of giving his children the emotional tools to navigate life. He believes in the power of open conversations about feelings, something his mother instilled in him. He has publicly shared how Diana's approach to emotional openness helped him deal with her loss and how he wants to ensure his own children have a space where they feel heard. One touching example is William's dedication to mental health awareness. As part of his royal duties, he has championed campaigns encouraging people to speak openly about their struggles, including his own experiences. This advocacy stems directly from Diana's influence, as she was known for addressing stigmatized issues with bravery and compassion. William isn't just raising future royals, he's raising emotionally intelligent kids who know how to talk about their feelings. That's a big deal for the monarchy.